In this video, I would like to give you an inside look at my thoughts behind some of the design and layout of the pole shed. I will describe some of our intended functions for the space as well as the size and dimensions. As we take a look at it from the outside, the overall measurements are 40 feet deep by 56 feet wide. Out front, we wanted two overhead doors that are 9 feet wide by 10 feet high. The intent is to park a boat with a wakeboard tower on it that ends up being close to 9 feet high on the one side, and on the other side we will most likely park the truck. We ended up having a little over 20 plus feet of approach to these two front doors, so that it will be manageable to back a trailer in and also allow for a vehicle to be parked in front without interfering with the driveway. Along this side of the building, we have a 12-foot wide by 14-foot high sliding door. This design element is intended more for future use if you would want to park a fifth-wheel travel trailer or a motorhome along the back side of the structure. In the future, we will develop a separate approach or entrance from the driveway so that we can easily access this door. As we come along the back of the building, you will notice about 2 feet of clear paneling at the top, which allows for natural light to fill the inside of the building. We had this installed on the back side as it will not distract from the overall look of the building from the front. Here we have another overhead door which is 10 feet wide by 8 feet high, located on the back side. Knowing how quickly the building will fill up, I wanted to easily access smaller items such as a utility trailer or lawnmower without having to move other equipment. We hope to maybe put a 10-foot wide lean-to on the back side here in the future. It would start just under the clear paneling and give us about 8 feet of height. We would use it to store items that do not necessarily need to be inside, such as a utility trailer or some of the implements. This service entrance door would then be located underneath the lean-to and would give us access to the larger storage area of the building as well as be right next to the tractor. On this side of the shed we have the fourth and final overhead door, which is 12 feet wide by 12 feet high. This will be the main door that we use to access the tractor and various implements. This side also has another service entrance door that will give us access to the future 20-foot by 24-foot woodworking shop area. In the future, we will also have an approach for this overhead door that will allow us to access the driveway. Having the large sliding door on one side and this large overhead door on this side should allow us to pull directly through from one side to the other without having to move anything that is stored on the front side of the building. On this corner, we are looking at the future woodworking shop area. There are 2 sliding windows on the front to allow for natural light, as well as the service entrance door with an additional window along the side. Here is one last look at the front side of the building. The sidewall height to the eaves is 14 feet. Which will give us plenty of height and space inside. To help prevent large chunks of ice or snow falling from the roof in front of the overhead doors, we had snow stops or guards installed near the edges of the roof. Let's head inside and take a look at the interior. Right away, you can see there is a lot of natural light coming through the panels on the back side of the building. Over on the right, there is the 12 by 12 overhead door and the future home of the tractor. In this area will be the woodworking shop. The electrical and natural gas utilities will come through along the front side of the building. Again, here are the 2 9-foot wide by 10-foot high overhead doors. On the far side, we will park the boat, and on the near side, the truck. The garage door openers are already installed and just need an electrical outlet to plug into. We intend to build interior partition walls to close off the woodworking shop area, which will be 20 feet deep by 24 feet wide. The shop walls will be 10 feet high, which will give us additional loft storage above. The service entrance door on the back side of the building will be used to access the area we intend to store the tractor, and will allow us easy access to the larger area without having to go through the shop. Our hope is to put a heavy-duty workbench along the wall and underneath the window to store necessary tools and work on items that are needed for the tractor and implements. Here is the smallest of the overhead doors on the back side of the building. Unfortunately, we were not paying attention when they installed the track for this door and only realized later that it will interfere with the amount of clearance we need to pull items through from one side to the other. The installers will be coming back out in the near future to run the track further up the wall and relocate the door opener to allow for the additional clearance that we wanted. Again, you can see the natural light coming through the clear paneling, as well as the space and clearance needed to pull a large fifth wheel or motorhome through. They could be easily stored on the back side with access from either end. We will now take a look at the large 12-foot wide by 14-foot high sliding door. Here is the latch system that locks it in place. As large as the door is, it currently moves easily along the track, but that may change if we decide to insulate it in the future and add plywood to the interior. We decided to have the large sliding door installed on this side of the building as it was going to be visible from our driveway entrance, and we wanted to limit the look of accessibility to the building. This viewpoint allows you to see the intent of being able to pull from one side through to the other side where the 12-foot by 12-foot overhead door is located. Closing the door can be a little tricky as there's a small roller located at the base to keep the door in the correct position as it shuts, and sometimes if the door is pushed too far out when it's opened, the door will go beyond this roller and may not line up correctly when it is pulled back to close it. There's also a bracket installed on the opposite end of the door where the lock is, so the door is tightly secured to the building, and if the door is not pulled in correctly, that bracket may not secure the door. And that is exactly what happened when I was shooting this video. After I latched the door securely on one side, I went back and looked and noticed that the bracket did not correctly catch the door to secure it on the other side. So I simply had to go back and unlatch the door so that I could then push the door back beyond the bracket, line it back up, and then pull it back so that it fits snugly into that bracket, which allowed me then to go back and lock it up and secure it against that side as well. That should do it for our overview of the design and layout of our pole shed. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel.